Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon, sir.
Okay, so today we have the plan to discuss the Week-7 problem, okay, on the same platform that on GDB. And before that, any experience, any feedback for the OPP exam? How was your OPP exam?
Sir, it was very good.
Okay, good. Any of you are giving the OPP today? Yeah, Raghavendra, what you said?
When will you discuss the OPP solutions?
No, we generally not discuss the solution. So they actually share the link for maybe 2 days. So you can just check your solution as well as the configured solution you can check.
If
Generally,
we
these
have,
OPP is not released officially.
if we have any doubt,
So what type of doubt you are talking?
so like I had one doubt in the question, but like I was asking if there is, I can ask, but I don't remember the question exactly.
So that we release the exam link after maybe for 2-3 days. That when we sent the mail for the OPP, that exam link was there, no?
Yes, sir.
So that at the same time you can see the question and you can note down the question and you can ask.
Sure, sir.
Okay, but that is already released as well as I think it is closed now.
Okay, no problem, sir. Thank you.
But regarding the question, if you are feeling that any question have any mistake, anything, so generally we check the result. Okay, so if a question have any issue or anything else, so we generally check the result. If we found any uh, error or something on the result also, so definitely it will affect the result also, no? So if students are able to do completely getting full marks on that question, so means that questions are fine. So based on that, we can also verify that questions. So any idea? So if you can remember what type of the question was, uh, anything? One second. Okay, let me share my screen. Give me a 1 minute. Okay, now access is not there. Now that exam link is actually not public. Okay, so we will discuss the Week-7 problem. Any other query, any other doubt you have regarding DOPP? So we are conducting this DOPP only for those who filled the form. Okay, because we didn't find any issue in the COPP, but we found the other OPP actually, or Python, and I think some that ML courses in the portal. So because of that, all the OPP exam are now they are conducting the OPP. If anybody found any issue, so based on that, they actually circulate one form. Those who want to give the TOPP and only those will get that. Okay, so today we will discuss Week-7. Now the I think 9 is released. Week-7 is not covered because last week we discussed the mock solution. So we will discuss today Week-7. For OPP2 exam, that syllabus is still Week-10. Okay, so mainly means from the first 5 week you will get something 2-3 questions, but remaining questions will be from the Week-6 to Week-10. Okay, so let's share that questions of Week-7. So I've already released the Week-7 total 6 problem for today. At Week-7, we have started the data structure. So that very important data structure is array. Okay, and strings we are also covering in this week a little bit. And so what is the advantage of array and what type of questions may be framed on that this array concepts? Okay, so that we are covering today. So first thing, this array is basically a data structure. So till now what we have done, we have stored some information from the input, and that information was maybe in like fixed quantity, so like one or two or three. Okay, so that number of inputs we are taking from the input and storing in our variables. Now what we happen, so sometimes in the real life we also required to work on some record. Okay, so record means we have the same type of data but for the large quantity. Okay, so and in that type of scenario, how we will store the data and how we will work on that. So suppose if we are working on the working some operation on the data of students actually in for any class, suppose C programming. Okay, so we want to just find out that what are the maximum marks for our C programming course in the OPP exam. So first we will store all the OPP marks for all students. Okay, suppose we have 100 students, so that 100 students marks we will store in our memory. Then we will identify that which student have the maximum marks. So here the quantity is large. We cannot create that much of variables in our program. Okay, so that much of variables like 100 variables, this is very difficult to create also and also difficult to manage in the program. So array is actually provided a like multiple data so that so arrays provide like same type of data.
First, we are giving the summary of Week-7. No?
No, I'm just giving the idea of array basically, not
Okay.
details in this, because I think that is already discussed in the
Yes, sir.
live sessions. No?
Yes.
So I'm just giving some recap, a small recap, then we will discuss. Okay, so like array is just like a continuous memory data, so that we have the continuous one block of the memory, and that is divided into a type of data type which we have declared. Suppose we have declared this array as int. Okay, and we have given like 10 size for this. So means here this array will contain, suppose one integer element take 4 byte, so 10 we are just declaring this array for 10 elements, so 10 into 4, so means 40 byte will be allocated in the memory for this array structure, where the name of this array is just like a pointer that will contain the address of first block. Okay, so here each block is actually 4 byte space in memory, and that is the continuous memory space. So suppose at the address of the first memory space is like 1000, so in byte I'm just talking about, so next space will be 1004. Okay, next space will be 1008, like this. Okay, so this is the continuous space in the memory, and where we can, this array name is just storing the address of this only 1000, this first block. The later address is calculated by the formula. So suppose if we are just looking for A0, so A0 is indicating this first address. Then we are just we want to fetch the first element, that one index element. So 0 is the first index, so like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, like this. This is the indexing which we use to access the element, like inside the bracket. So this one is actually internally what happened when we just access the element by this. So internally the one formula is used. So that is just like a base plus I into like each element size, suppose W. Okay, so what is the base address? So base address is the first address, so that is 1000, plus what is the index we are looking for, so that is 1. Okay, and what is the size of each element, that is W, so that we are taking 4 here. Okay, so that is means 1004. So this is the formula. We calculate the address of element internally when we access the element from indexing. Okay, so by A1. Similarly, if you check A3, so what will be the address? So that simply 1000 plus and 3 into 4. Okay, 1012. So this is the address of 12. So this third element, third index element. Okay, this one. So in this way, internally, this calculation happens. So we not stored every address here. This array only store the first address. This A is just like a pointer that contain the address of the first block. After that, internally, this calculation happens to get the next element using the indexing. Okay, and here we can store multiple data of the same type, integer. What type of array we are declaring, we can store the data in this integer. Okay, integer type of data we can store, like 10 element we can store. And then later we can perform some operation on that by traversing the each element. So this indexing is used to access the each element and storing the each element in the array. Okay, so now we will see today, so how we will store the element in the array, how we will traverse the elements, how we will perform the operations related to the arrays. Okay, so this is the idea. Later week 8 we will discuss more group data, not only the type of integer, how we can group data in like as a record. So sometimes we record like we are storing the students data, so that name we have the marks or we have the roll number, suppose. Okay, so this type of record we are maintaining for each student. So, okay, so one roll number, then correspond name, correspond marks, second roll number, that like this. So here roll number may be integer, name, this may be string, marks may be integer or float. So these are the different type of data, but we need to store this in the group manner. So that thing comes under the structure, data structure. So that is, I think, that is discussed in week 8. So that how we can maintain this type of record. But this week we are only looking for this array data structure as well as string, because string is also a set of characters. So that is also represented using the array. Okay. So that is the idea goal for today problems. We will discuss the problems based on the array data structure. And this is very important for the OPP exam also. So you should aware of that, how we traverse and how to the array, access the element of the array and store the element of the array. Okay, so this is the idea. Now we will discuss the problem. This is one. So I have already opened this all problems. So as I have released week 7, problem 1 to problem 6. So this is the first problem. And there is no code given on the editor, means you need to write the complete code. Means you need to read the element as well as the perform the operation and print the output. For practice, we are not giving any code on the editor, because you should know how to read, how to print everything. But in exam, sometimes we give some part of the code, like main function we give, but we ask to write it some specific function that performs some specific operation. So you should aware of the complete part of the program. So because of that, here just practice with the complete code. So let's read the question statement. Write a program to find the maximum number from n numbers. This is a very common problem. Okay, so if you have the numbers, multiple number, maybe 1000, 100, any counting maybe you have. So how you will identify the maximum value among all the elements? Okay, so the programs should first accept an integer input from the user, indicating that the number of inputs to be given by the user. So means you can see the sample input here. So first value is representing the total number we are going to read. Okay, so 3 number we are going to read, which we will use to identify the maximum number. Okay, so 3 element, first value is just like a length or total number of elements. After that, the remaining 3 elements are the actual elements which we will compare. Okay, then the program should accept those integer numbers as input in an integer array and display the maximum of the input numbers as the output. Okay, so display means print. So you can assume that the maximum number of input to be given by the user will not exceed 10. Okay, so here size is already given, so you can also give this size to the array where you will store these numbers. Okay, so let's start. So that same thing. So has include stdio.h. Okay, and after that same function will write main and return. Okay, now what we will do, we will, because here maximum limit is given, okay, 10. So what we can do, we can declare one array, okay, and we will store the data in that array. So that means what we will declare, so first we will declare one integer n, okay, because n we require to store the total number of elements, and this is the first input value in our input. And as well as we will declare one array, like I'm just giving the name numbers, okay. So nums are 10. I'm giving the size of 10. So that is our required data structure. We will store the data. So now we will just read the value. So scanf. So first we will read the value of n. Scanf and that percentage d, because this is the integer. Now we will store this value in our integer value. Now we have three value. So for n value to read, okay, because this is just n is just a counting how many next value we have to read. So what we will do, we will use a loop for this. Okay, so loop we will run. So for int I equal to 0, okay, and I is less than equal to n. So here we will take this loop iteration count is less than n, because we are starting from 0, and this I value we will use as an index in our array to store I plus. Okay, so now here we will read again. So scan f, and that each value as a integer. Now we will pass this value to in our array. So that is and num of I. Okay, so this is the part where we are reading the inputs. So our all input will be read from the input and store in this array. Okay, so for this sample input, so this 3 is the n value. Now this loop is running from 0, 1, 2. Okay, this range. So when I equal to 0, so this just put 0 here, nums 0. So first value, this 5 value will be stored in the num 0. Then again loop will run. So I will become 1. So num 1 value will become 8. Okay. Now next iteration, when I become 2, that num 2 will become 2. Okay. So these three value will be stored in first three places. Our array size is 10, but we are only storing the n element into that. So like this structure. So we have declared some array. So like that is indexing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So here 0 index, this suppose this 5 value will be stored, and this 8 value will be stored here, and then 2 value will be stored. Remaining array we will consider as empty, and we will only just perform any operation with this length 0 to n minus 1, this range. Okay, because these elements may be some random garbage value also. Okay, so we will not use the remaining space because that is already available, but we have only stored the n element, so we will work on this size. So this is the work we have done till now. After that, what is our task? So our task is to find the maximum element in this. So that how we can do. So let me just again give the idea how you will solve this problem logically. So you have these elements. These elements may be anything. Okay, just I'm giving like idea. So 4, 3, 2, 6, 1, 8, 7, 5. Okay. Suppose these elements are there in our array. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can traverse the element using the indexing. Okay, but how you can identify the max element? So you have to compare the elements. Then you can figure out which value is the maximum among all these. So what logic we can use? We can consider that this element, first element, is a max element. Okay, so I'm just storing our index and considering that this index is a max element. Okay, max equal to 0 index. Now what we will do, we will just traverse all the remaining element from 1 to 7. And we will compare this element to the previous max assigned value. So we will simply check this first index value. So this is 3. Is this 3 is greater than to the 4? No. Okay. So if we are not getting a greater value to the previous maximum, we will skip and we will move to the next element. So again, this 2 is greater than 5. Sorry, 4. No. Okay. So again, skip, move to 6. Yes, 6 is greater than 4. Yes. Now we will update our max to current that max found. Okay, so that this is 3 index. Okay, now we'll do the next comparison. So 1 is greater than the previous max. 6, no. Okay, 8 is greater than the previous max. 6, yes. Okay, again we found one more greater element, so that is index 5. And then we will repeat this process. We will check from 7. 7 is greater than 8. No. 5 is greater than 8. No. Okay, but now one iteration done. So during this process, we found that what is the maximum element. So that is the index 5. It means 8, this value. And after that, we will print this index value as a output. So this is the iteration, one iteration we can use to identify the maximum element in our array. So that is the logic we will use to solve this. And let's write the code for this. So what I'll do, int, I'm just taking the variable. So int max equal to, and I'll assign that. You can assign an index as well as you can assign a that direct value also. So that is also fine. So nums, so value, let me find, just take the value as well. So 0. Okay. So 0 index value, I am just taking as a max value. Okay. After that, I am running a for loop. I equal to, we will start from 1 because first index value 0 value we have already taken, okay, as a max. So we will no need to compare that value. So that we will start from 1 and that should be less than to n, okay, and I plus plus. In this loop, now we will come do the same thing. So we will compare if our current max is smaller than to the current I value. Okay, so that nums of I. Okay, so means nums I is greater than to the our previous max. So if this condition is true, so means we will update our max value to nums I. Okay, like this. So this loop will run till the end, and your max will be updated every time once we will found the next max value. Okay, and finally we will print this as a result, percentage d, and then what is our max value. So this is our complete solution. So you can see how we declare the element, declare the variable. One is integer simple element, another is array. Okay, here because we are storing multiple record. So this is the first n value we are reading, and after that we are reading remaining n elements. Okay, and storing into the array. Then we have just start the logic. So this is the logic part, how we are figuring out the maximum element. So we are declaring the max value as the first element. After that we are comparing from the second. And if we are finding the greater value to the max, then we are updating our max. Okay. And after completion of this loop, we will find out the final to max among all the element. So that we are printing here. So this is the overall. Let's run this. Any syntax error or anything? Yeah, we have the error. So what are the errors? So just we see the error message and figure out that. Okay, so we have error something in this statement. Okay, so what we missed the semicolon. Okay, now we have this another error. So we are comparing. Okay, so num, you can see this num is not a declared variable, so we actually are using nums.
Sir,
S. Huh.
sir, as in scanf, you used and num as I.
Huh.
So array, I think it can also be used without and na? Array.
No, if you are taking indexing, then you have to use this and. Okay, if you are accessing only the first element, then you can type these numbers.
Okay, sir.
Then with indexing, you have to use this and symbol.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now our code is running fine. So let's start 3, and so when we put the 3, so it will ask next 3 element to read. So that is 5 and suppose 8 and 2. Now our input is done. When we will enter, so that our logic part will done, so that we will get 8. Okay. So here. So in this way, this is working. So all test cases are working fine. So this is the logic. Okay, any query in this logic, anyone? Because this is very common logic, this reading and then accessing. Okay, reading input and storing the value in the array, and then after that accessing the element for the operation. This is common things for every question based on the array. So you should very understand this. Okay, this part, how we can read and how we can access each element later. Okay, so this is the solution for first. Any doubt, any query you can ask.
Sir, you didn't use backslash n for reading the input.
So that is not required by default. Doesn't matter this input we are taking in the different lines or by separating by the space. This actually this always read one element and wait for the second element. So doesn't matter that is coming after the space or into the next line. So that slasher is not required.
Sir, because of for loop, right?
No, by default, suppose as we have already discussed in the initial week, suppose you have 2 inputs like in separate byte like 3, 5 like this, and the same input are coming like in the new line 3 and 5. So either you can write a scanf 2 separate line. Okay, so like suppose this is for A, this is for B. Okay, so that percentile D, and simply write and A. Okay, and again scanf and percentile D and B. So this will work for both in this way also, in this way also. So this actually element is defined for to read one element. So once this will read the first element, okay, so it will get one space now. So this first statement will complete. Okay, then second statement will come, so that will read the second element.
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay, so that slash n is not required for this. Or you can write this for the both input. For both the input, you can write this as a single. Okay, so scanf like percentile D and percentile D. Okay, like this also, and A and B. Okay, this way also you can read the both input. So once it will read the first element, so doesn't matter that is second element is coming after the space or next line, it will work. Okay, so slash n is not required for reading, but yeah, for printing, if you want to print, then you have to check that what format required for the output. So if your output is in the new line every time, so you have to use the slash n in the printf statement. If your output is in the only the one line, so slash n will not work on that. Okay, based on the output format, you have to use the slash n or a space, anything like that.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the first one. Let's move to the second problem. Okay, so this is also very similar. We will same task we will do again, but the problem is different. Okay, so write a program to count the number of even numbers in n number given as input. So same input format is there, same type of loops we will use to read and perform the operation. But here our output is different, so that we are figuring out how many even numbers are there in the total number we have. So like 4, this is the n value. Okay, so how many elements we are going to read? 1, 2, 3, 4 are the actual element. Among all these elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, how many even numbers are there? That our task actually. So means we need to check each elements. So this is not always the sequence like this. Okay, so this may be random. So we need to check each number, that number is a even or not. Okay, so that you know already how to check even number. So that condition you need to apply in this solution. So here simply write the solution. You can write your own. Okay. Also, after conducting this session, write these solution by your own in this for the problems. Okay, without looking the solution. So same as so that so this part is done. Now again same thing. So I'm declaring two variables so that let's oh, n size already given. So just giving this nums. After that, I'm reading the same n value first. So say scanf that percentile d and that value will be passed to n. Now I'll run a loop. So for int I equal to 0. So that 0 we are starting here because array is start from the 0 index. So we will use this I always as a starting index. So that is 0. Okay, so that I should be less than to n, and this is the last index, and I plus plus. Okay, so now we will read now n elements. So that is scanf and percentile d will be stored in our nums and nums. That is I index. So our input read part is done. Now we will find out the total number of even numbers. So we will just take one counter variable. So that I am just taking count equal to 0 initially. So for and int I equal to 0. So from 0 index we will start right this time, and this will be reached at till I is less than 2 n and I plus plus. So each element we will check this. What we will check? So we will check that number is a even number or not. So if so nums of I. Okay, so that will fetch the element one by one, and that we will check if that is divisible by 2 or not. Okay, if this condition is true, means that number is a even. So we will increment our count by 1. Okay, so now our task is done. So if our number is even, so this condition will become true and this counter will increment. If number is odd, so this part will not execute. So now finally we will print our count. Okay, so that is our final task. So print f percentile d and that count. Okay, so we have done our task. So input part done, and this is the counter things. Okay, so we are counting the even numbers in this loop. So only the condition is changed, otherwise the code is very similar to the previous one. Let's run this. Okay, we have some error. So what we missed? Okay, loop. Okay, you should be aware of this error actually. So just always see the error and where this pointer is showing, or this pointer where. Just go through that part and see what you have missed actually. Okay, in that part. So you can see we need to use semicolon, but I used comma. So because of that, this error is coming. Now this is fine. So let's check this. So 4. Okay, then next 1, 2, 3, and 4 also should be 2. We are getting correct answer as equal. Okay, so this is the same problem. I hope this is also clear. Nothing too much new in this. Okay, so our test is also passed. Okay, is it fine? Shall I move to next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's submit this also. So here this is the another version. So write a program to find the majority element in an array. A majority element is an element that appears more than n by 2 times in the array. Okay. If no such element exists, output should be -1. You can assume that the maximum number of input array will be like 10 only. So 10 size given. So here, what is the meaning of this n? So here you can see the sample input. N value is given 5. Okay, n value is given 5. And after that, simply you need to find out any element. So like any element here, you can see 3. What is the frequency for 3 is 4. What is the frequency for 4 is 1. Okay. So any element, if that element is greater than to the 5 divided by 2. Okay. This is the integer division. So that will only return the integer value. So that is 2. Okay. So if your count value, this count value is greater than this 2, then this is greater than, correct? So more than, okay. So not equal, more than. So that number will be considered as your majority element. So means 3 should be the output for this sample. If no element is major, so that suppose in the second example you can see, so here n equal to 4, but all elements are like distinct. Okay, so all elements are like 1 is repeated 1 time, 2 is repeated 1 time, 3 is repeated 1 time, 4 is repeated 1 time. So this is the frequency. Now no element is greater than 2. Okay, because this is n by 2 is 2. So no majority element. In this case, output should be -1. So this is the question. So now you can figure out logically how you can identify this. What logic you can apply. First part is the same. You have to read the input. You have to store the elements. After that, you have to figure out. Okay. So this is the thing. Any logic for this? How you will do? Any idea? Okay, so what we can do, we can simply check in nested loop. Okay, so this is the simple logic. You can apply another logic here also. So suppose we have this 3, we have 3, 3, and 4, 3, 3. This is the loops. Okay, this is the elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we can do, we can check the count for every element. So okay, and suppose first I will check for 3. So I will just pick this element and we will identify that what frequency we have this for this element. Okay. So I will just run a loop for this element and compare. So this is the first element is 3, and we will compare it this 3 to every element in the nested loop. So this is now, and we will use the counter. So in this way, this first 3 is equal to this 3. Second is also matched. This is also matched. This is also matched. So we will increment our counter and we will get 4. At the same time, we will use this 3, okay, for the counting we are getting. Like at the same time, we will check if this counting is greater than to the n by 2 or not. So if we found this, okay, because one element is only possible with this condition. Okay, so if we found any element which are repeating more than n by 2, then we can stop our process using return statement or break statement. Okay, so once we found this condition true, we will print the same time at the result. So this is the major element. So this 3 is the major element, and we will print this result and we will stop the process. No need to check other things, because if any element is repeating n by more than n by 2, so no other element is possible with the same range n by 2. So that things we will try to do with the nested loop. Okay. So this is the first case. Suppose what happened if this is the sequence 1, 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3 like this. Okay. So suppose if we will start from 1. First we will count the frequency for 1. Okay, so that 1 we will check the whole array, and then we will check only we found the 1 frequency for this, but that is not greater than to the n by 2. Then we will repeat the same process for the second element. So because of that, we require a nested loop, because we are looking for the each element frequency. Okay, so one loop will handle the current number, and second loop will repeat the same array and will identify the total frequency. Okay, then outer loop will increment again to the next element like this. So this is the idea to solve this. So let's write code for this and solve this. Okay, so first part is the same input reading part. So let's start with the same in n comma nums. Same size is already given, maximum size, so that I'll take that scanf and this n. Okay, then for okay, so this input part is there. Okay, now our input we have read all the elements and stored in our nums array. So now let's go to the logic part. Now what we will do? So I'm just taking one counter. So int count. The count I have just taken, and in the we will just run one outer loop. So that outer loop will just identify which element we are looking for the frequency. Okay, so that will take care of that. So let's run for int I equal to 0 and I is less than 2 and I plus plus. Okay, after this, so you can see outer loop will run first. So I equal to 0. For 0th element, we will check the frequency. So we will just repeat the process. So for we will run another loop int j, and that loop will also start from 0 and j less than to n and j plus plus. Inside this loop, we will just check if our element is equal to the ith element. Okay, so then we will just count the frequency for that. So we will set our counter before outer of this loop. So count equal to 0. Okay, and here we will check if our nums, so nums of I is equal to nums of j. Okay, so in this condition, you can see this nums of I will remain same. Okay, what I value we have for this loop, so that is a single 0. Suppose for the first iteration 0, this j value will be changed for this range, so 0 to n minus 1. Means we are comparing the first element, ith element, to the each element in the array, and we are getting for the frequency for that. So count plus plus. Okay, so in this way we will find out the frequency for ith element, and after this loop, okay, so once we found the total frequency, here we will check if this count value is greater than to the n by 2. So that is into n by 2. So in this case means we are getting our resultant value. So in this case, we will just simply print f statement. Print f. So this okay. I value. Okay. So which element frequency we found for this loop? Ith value. Okay. So that element is the actually majority element. So that we will print the percentile d here, and nums of I. So this nums of I is the actually major element if the frequency for that is greater than n by 2. And here we have to stop the process because this process will repeat again for the next element like this. Okay. But you can stop that also, but you can maybe continue this operation also. You will never get the another element. Okay. Once you find out the first element as the major element, you will never get the another element as the major element. So you can keep you can make this without break or without stopping also. That will also work because this condition will never be satisfied again. But that loop will run without any like effort, without any operation. So we can leave here also, and yeah, one more condition. Okay. Okay, because here this is also given if there is no element as a major element. So we need to print a -1. Okay. So that we will do at the late. So print f. Simply we will print the -1. So that here -1 we will write here. Yeah. Because this condition is required, so then we have to stop the process if we found this major element. Otherwise, what will happen? This major element will also print and -1 will also print. Let's run this. Okay, so see that what we are getting. So I'm just giving the input 5 and then 3, 3, 4, 3, and 3. Okay. So here you will see we will get 3 as well as -1. Okay. So okay. So this loop is running because every time we are just getting 3 and we are checking the frequency for that, and we found that 4 times this first 3 is printing. Again, the same next 3 is coming, so that will again frequency we will check for the 3, so we will get again 4 frequency for that, and we will print again. This is the problem. And also we are getting at the end -1. So this should not be happen. So we should stop the process once we found the result. So what we can do, we can put return here, return 0. Yeah, so that will actually stop the process. Okay. So in this case, once we found the first major element, our process will terminate. So that 5, 3, 3, and 4, 3, 3. Okay. So here you can see we are only getting 3 now. The second possible input, let's suppose 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So no major elements, we are getting -1 for this. Okay. So this part is not executing if we don't have any major elements, so only this part will print. Okay. So this is the solution for this problem. So this is nested loop we are using for this. Okay, any query, anyone in this? Any like logic part, any query you have?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let me move to, let's submit this and move to next 4th problem. So rotate an array by k position. Okay. So what input we have for this? So write a program to rotate an array of n numbers to the right by k position. The program should first accept 2 integer n and k. After that, program should accept n integer numbers as input in the array and display the rotated array as output. Okay. So you can assume that the maximum number of elements are 10. So what is logically, just understand this, what is the problem statement and task we have. So 5 first value is the n value 5. Okay. And for sample input k equal to 2. And this is the array element. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the array element. Okay, so 0 index, 1, 2, 3, 4 index. So k rotations means just take the last element and push here, first position. Okay, so here means is just shift each element to the one right position and just pick the last element and put at the first place. Okay, so means just shift one element to the right. So means 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, and push 5 at here. So this is the one rotation. Okay, and again we will do the same thing. So we will pick the last element and we'll shift each element to the one right. So 3, 2, 1, and 5, and then we will push this at here. Okay, so that's 4. So in this way, clockwise type of rotations we are applying, and after rotation, our array should be look like this. Okay, so 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Same array we will do this. Okay, we are not directly printing by some like for a specific input. Our array elements should be updated like this. After rotating, our final elements means 0 index, 4 should become 1 index, 5 should become like this. Okay, the same input array. So we will do these rotations. Okay, so this is our problem, and let's write the logic for this. So here you can use the swapping process, shifting process. So that swapping you already know how we will swap the variables. So same things we can do here also. Okay, after shifting, we can swap the last position with the first position. Okay, with the same logic. So let's start this. So I'm doing the same input reading part first. Okay. Let's and we required also k, and we required our array. You can give any name for these variables, okay, as per your understanding. So this is not a fixed requirement. So like 10 size I have declared. After that, I'll read this first two value n and k. So I can read these two first value as a one scanf also. So scanf percentile d, percentile d, and after that we will store these two value in the variable and m comma and k. Okay. So first two value will be stored here. After that we will run a loop. So for int I equal to 0 less than m and plus and scanf percentile okay. So now our all input we have stored. Okay, so we have stored n and k value as well, and we have stored our all array elements into the nulls array. Now our task is to rotate this array. So rotate part, because how many times we need to rotate? We need to rotate 2k times. Okay, so currently k value is 2, so we will just take a k variable as a rotation. So we will run a loop here. So for int, like I'm taking suppose k loop, k equal to starting from 1. Okay, or you can take 0, but you have to run then less than 2k, and j should be less than 2k. So same thing is same logic is there. So j plus plus. This loop will run k times. Okay, 0 and 1 if k equal to 2. Okay. So now what we need to do for this? Now we need to do the same things. First, we will just note down the last value. Okay, n minus 1 index value. After that, we will shift all the elements from the last position, second last position to one position ahead. Okay, that's shifting. After this shifting, we will put our last value at the first place. So this is our task here. So what the last element I'll take here. So int last equal to nums of n minus 1 is the last index. Okay, so n minus 1 is last index. So last element we have copied. After that, we will run a loop. So that for let's take k. Suppose int k. K is also we are using as a variable, not k. Let's take this I. No problem. I here so fine. Let's take this as a J. Okay. Okay, J loop, where from we are doing the shifting actually. So we have the array, suppose I'm just taking this example. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for this example I'm taking, we have the 5 elements like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this element we have copied into the last. So last, this 5 is now copied by this statement. Okay, so this is n minus 1. Total n equal to 5 here, and this is 4. So n minus 1 is the 4 last index. So we have copied this element into the last, and after that, what we will do, we will start our loop from this variable. Okay, so this means n minus 2. We will start our loop from this to 0. Okay, till 0. And every time what we will do, we will just take this element and will shift to here, one position to the right. So that shifting will be done like this. So nums of suppose this j value we are taking, j is starting from n minus 2. Okay, so means j plus 1. From j plus 1 position, we will store the element of nums j like this. Okay, so j value will be start from n minus 2 index. So that index element will be shifted to j plus 1 position. So that next position. So this element will copy here, this will copy here, this will copy here, and this will copy here. After shifting all this, we will just pick the last element and put here at 0 index. So this is the one shifting, one time shifting. The same loop will run again, and then the same shifting will happen again. So in this way, we will perform the things. So now we are running the loop. So j equal to n minus 2. Okay, and here this loop will run. J is when j is greater than to the greater than equal to 0, and this time j minus minus. Okay, so this loop is running from second last to 0th index, and here we will just store the element so that nums j plus 1 equal to nums j. Okay, so this part will done do the shifting, and after completion of this, we will shift nums 0 equal to last. Okay, so for each iteration, so this is the outer loop. We are just this is maintaining the total number of shifting we require, so that I loop and j loop is actually doing the shifting. Okay, picking the last element and then putting that into a 0th index. So this our task is done. Now what we will do, we will just print the same array again. Now you will see the reflection. So to print the same array, so you can take the same loop int I equal to 0 and I is less than to n and I plus plus, and just print array. Okay, so print %n b. Okay, here you can see in the output array element are printed in the one line separated by space. So just put one space here and simple nums of I. Okay. Now we are printing the element again from 0 index to last index, and you will see that our element are coming correctly or not. So let's start this. So 5 first value is 5 as a n value, 2 as a k value, then an element. So 1 and 2. Sorry. So 5 and 2. 1. Something is wrong in the code. So our code is terminating by after this. So let's see what we are doing a mistake. So n value is the first value, and key value is the second value is fine. I loop is running from 0 and I less than equal to n, I plus plus, and scan percentage p. Oh, here we have forgotten actually. Okay. So 5, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can see we are getting 4, 5, 1, 2, 3 in the output array as the required output. Okay. So in this way, we have performed the rotations on the array. Any query in the logic part and code, any place this?
So this logic is clear. Yesterday in a previous session, we also learned about splitting of array and merging them. We can do that also, right?
Sorry, your voice is not clear. What you said yesterday?
Yesterday in previous session, we learned about the splitting of array and then merging them.
Okay, so that may be different problems. I'm not sure what problems TA are discussing. So yesterday, I think that TA session was there, no?
Yes.
Huh.
So, like that, we can split the given array and then merge accordingly from the kth position to the left.
That thing you can do, but this is some different logic. We are performing the operation in the same array. Okay.
Yes, and this is clear to me, sir.
So any logic you can apply. Okay. There is no foundation on the solving the problem. Any problem you can solve in multiple different way. So what idea you are getting to solve or for the creating the logic, you can apply in your code. So this is one of them actually. This is not the one only the one final solution. You can think any other logic. You can think your code in different style, different loops, while loop or something. But finally your target should be achieved. Okay, so you can try this by your logic also later. So as we are saying from the initial of this course, any problem can be solved in multiple different ways. So all you can try for good practice. Okay, so we are doing just a naive solution for the shift rotation. So we are just copying the last element and then shifting all the element and putting the last element in the first element. So this is simple, actually proper understandable logic actually. Okay. Other any logic you can also try. Okay, any other query in this code or any part? Okay. Then move to the, okay, let's check the test case also. Okay. Then move to the next. So let's check if a string is a palindrome. Here this question is related to the string, but that is also used the array concept. Okay, because we store the string in the array data structure only as a character. Just give me a minute. Sorry. Okay, so check if a string is a palindrome or not. Okay, here write a program to check the given string is a palindrome. A string is said to be a palindrome if it reads the same forward and backward. Okay, the maximum length of the given string is not exceed 100 characters. So this is the just condition. So no input is contained more than 100 characters. So you know that what is the palindrome. Okay, so that if we read that string from any side, you will get the same. So you need to print yes, okay, in capital if string is palindrome, otherwise no. So this is the question statement. So here you have to also read the input Okay, so what input? That part is, I think, missing in this passage statement.
Sir, palindrome means just opposite word.
Just not just opposite means if we are reading that string or number anything from the any side, left to right or right to left, the same should be actually appear.
Okay.
Okay, this is the meaning. Okay, then how we will do this? 1 second. Yes, sir. Okay, so how we will do this? So let's write the solution for this. Okay. So has not okay. So input part. So this input we will store in our array. So that this is a character array, okay, not the integer array. So each character. So we will create a char and like str, the name of the array, and 100. Okay. And okay, what we will do? This is completely string. So just read this as a string. So how we will read this? So scanf and here percentile s. Okay. And we will store this in str. So str. Okay. So this we are reading as a string this, but by default this will store in our array. And let's see this. This is working fine or not at this step. So let's print this printf and that percentile s for string and save str. Let me see. We are getting ABC. Okay. So in this way, we are storing our string in this array. Now the next thing is how we can get the length of this string, because that we don't know, or we have to actually check in the reverse way to match. How we can check, how we can reverse this. So that is simple, because this string is stored in the array. So that means this is the array where the each character is just like 1, 2, okay, like this. Okay, so A, B, C. So what we can do, we can simply start with the first index, and another variable we can start from the last index. So we can match if the first index and last index are same. So we will just move to this side. Okay, and we'll check the same thing again. So if at any point if we found this is not mismatched, we will stop the process and we will return the answer. Otherwise, we will print the yes. But because for this, we have to identify the length of the string. So how we can check the length? That length part. Scanf. So int and equal to the length of I think this is the function. Not sure. Let me see the string function for this. So that we have the document C program summary document. Seven. Okay, so this is summary. So let's see the how we check the length of the string. So string scanf, we can read it in the footage. Oh, strlen, actually we have this. But we have to import this include string.h to use this strlen. Okay, let's try this. Has include a comma, and we are doing mistake. Right. We are getting the length. Okay, so 4. So by the in this way you can like debug your code in the small step by printing the things. So this is the very basic things to check your code after some steps. Okay, so we got the length as well as we store the array in our string in our array. So after that we will what we will do, we will just perform the in logic part, that how we can check the reverse things with the same array. So here after getting the length, so string I have done, length I have calculated by this. Now we will run a loop. So I'll take two variables. So int I am just taking to 0, okay, and j I am just assigning to n-1. It's the last index. Okay, so two variable means first index and last index. This is the thing. Now we will run a loop. So while our I is less than to j. This is the condition. Whenever I is less than to j, we will repeat this process if our string, so str of I is equal to str of j. If this condition is true, means first and last character are matched. Then we will reverse our index to one position to the I will increment like this and j will decrement. Okay, like this. Okay, so this loop will run fine. Okay, at the end, else part of this, if this character is not matched, so in the else part we will break the process and will return the answer. So we will just print the results. Print f no. Okay, and here we will return stop the process, return 0. Otherwise, here if this we found without else condition execution, so we will print the result here. So print f yes. So let's take the example and explain this step by step how this code will work. So I'm just using this madam example so that so this m okay a d a. This is the string we have. So indexing we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I we are setting to this and j we are setting to this. So n actually we have the 5 length for this. Okay. So now we will check the ith character and jth character are same or not. This condition we will check once our I is less than j. Okay, if this condition is satisfied, then we will check this. So I is 0, j equal to 4, this is true, then we will check a string character. Okay, so this m is equal to last ith character and jth character are same. Yes, okay, so you can see this is same. Then we will increment our I to next, so I will come here and j will reduce to here. Okay, still I is less than j, so we check again. So this character is same. Yes. Okay. Again, we will just reduce this I and j. Both will come here. Now I and j both are same. So this loop will run not run. Means we have reached at the same character. Reached at the same character. So don't need to check because that is by default matched. So we will directly return the answer print yes. Okay. Suppose this is now hello. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I is checking for this I and j. So now you can see h and this is not meshed. So this condition is not true. Else part. If at any point this is not meshed, you can directly print no because this is not possible to. This is actually a palindrome, and stop the process at that time. You can return 0, so that will stop the process, and will return the no answer for this. Okay. So in this way, this code is working. So let's test this. Okay, so in type will be very common. Print yes, we have missed colon. So let's check M A T A M. We are getting yes. And if we have another thing, hello, we are getting no. Okay, repeat it. So this is working. Right. Oh, so why this is failed? No. Oh, we have just printed 0 instead of. Okay, so this is the solution. So we can read the strings like this, and that will by default will stored in our array. And this strlen actually will check why in the array actually what happens. Suppose we have the size of array is 100. Okay, so we have taken 100 size, but our this madam this is stored in our array as a like character. So this so m will store here a d a m. Okay. After that, if we are storing the string like this, so next character will be terminator character. Okay, /0. This is just like a terminate character in the string. And when we use this strlen method, so that identified that what is the position of this terminator character. Okay, so before that, how many elements we have? So only that length actually will get. So how many characters we have? 5. So we will identify that 5 character we have in the array. Okay, otherwise array we have the size of 100, but we identified that what is the length of actual string. So that you can identify from this. After that, you can simply apply that logic. First character to the last character match, then second character to the second last character to the match, like this. Okay, any doubt in this logic?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's move to the next. Find the most frequent characters. This is another version of the previous question where we find out the major element. So This is also the similar thing. Write a program to find the most frequent character in a given string. If there are multiple characters with the same highest frequency, print the lexicographically smallest one. The string contains only lowercase English letter A to Z. The maximum length of the string will not be exceed from this. Okay. So now we need to identify the maximum frequency character. Okay, how you will solve this? Same things, you can store the data like previous question. We can identify the length, and after that you have to use the same nested loop. And but here you have to identify the character frequency for each. Okay. So let's solve this. First thing, store the data in our array. That part. Okay. So let's this is the character string. So char and str and size is maximum 100. After that, we will read this string in the input, so that is scanf and %s. This will be stored str. So you can see here we are not using and symbol now because we are just directly giving the pointer. So by default, the name of array is actually a pointer. Okay. And when we use the AND thing, so that is also return a address, and pointer contain the address only. So because of that, we can directly write str if we are not using indexing thing. So this is the part to read, and same we will use the length. So let's include string.h and equal to str and of. So we got the length of the string. Now simply we need to identify the character which have the maximum frequency. Okay. So we can take two variables here. So like max frequency, okay, and one local frequency counter we will take internally, and one character for the result. So like I'm taking care as a final output result. Okay, so that res I'm taking. So that res is just like a will contain the character, which character has the maximum frequency, and I'm taking one int max. Okay, so initially I'm just assigning with 0 this. Okay. Now I'll just run a outer loop. So int I equal to 0 and I is less than to n and I plus plus. So this is the outer loop which will actually take care of the which character frequency we are counting. Okay, so this is one by one. So internally we will take one variable int count that will assign to 0. Now we will run an internal loop for the complete array. So int j equal to 0 and j is less than to n and j plus plus. If str of I is equal to str of j, so this is true, will increment above j, sorry, counter plus plus. Okay, so in this way we will identify the counter total number of count for each character I. After that, we will check if this counter value, so this counter value, count counter value, is greater than to the previous max value. Okay, so previous max we are taking, then we will assign our max to count. Okay, and also assign the result for that, so that res equal to str of I. Okay, these things. So you can see, for example, first thing. So we will just identify the counter for total number of count for a character. Okay, by this outer I equal to 0 means a character, and then we will completely traverse this string. So we will count the frequency a is equal to a. Yes, one count. Okay, then no character is matched to a. So means finally count we got the one for a, and we will check this count is greater than to the previous max. Yes. Okay, so we will assign our count to that max to 1 and result equal to a in the first iteration. Now we will repeat the process and we will check for the second character, okay, p. So same things we will find out that we will find out the total count for 2 for p. Then we will check 2 is greater than to the previous max, which is 1. Yes. Okay, so now we will set our max to 2 and res to p. Okay, and we'll do the same things again for next p. The result will remain same p, because we will get again the 2 count which is not max greater than to the previous 2. So that is okay. One thing is, so things we are identifying, print the lexicographical. Okay, okay. Smallest one. We have to take more condition here then, and then equal to, we have to assign if then res. Okay, the previous character is smaller than or not the current character. So str of I is smaller than to the res. Then we will do these things. Okay. So in this by this condition, actually we will maintain our smaller character. Suppose we are finding out the frequency for like a equal to also 2 and b is equal to also 2. So which character should we print? So here it is mentioned that print the lexicographically smallest one. So we are just comparing these things here. Okay, so we can compare the string like this, because by default literally this use the ASCII number in integer. Okay, so a definitely have the smaller ASCII number compared to the b ASCII number. So if this condition is true, so only this character will be assigned to new res. Okay, so only a will print by this. So now our all things are looks okay. So let's run this and see, still our output part is not done. So printf and character we are printing actually. So that %c and res. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, so we have missed something in this loop. Okay, what we have missed? str. Okay, so bracket we have missed. Column we missed. Okay, let's see. A-double-P-L-E. We are not getting the output. STR, STR is done. Skill we have read. KRES max equal to 0. So STR of 0. Okay, so what is the possible error? Anyone can see? So what we are doing, we are just taking the n as a total length. This is okay. RES. First character I'm assigning as a RES result. Length is 0. This condition not be true well. N equal to 3, which is extreme. Count equal to 1 is greater than x, and STR of I is less than or equal to RES. Less than STR of I is the current cell vector is equal to RES. Find the axis. What is done? Yeah. Thing is wrong here, so let's see this next count. Check this correctness. Next. So 1, 1, 1, every iteration it is going to 1. Plus, plus. So I become 1, 1, because you when it's matching to J, Q will start from 0 to J plus 1, that's fine. This should be implement. And the count also should count. And that will be question. So this will be called the count 2. This is working from also here what condition wrong is there. So if count is greater than to the previous max, and this is something wrong. Yes. Hmm. If count. Let's see this first. I think this will work. And let us the conditions to be or B. We are getting P correct answer. So, but here the alphabetically, if something is there, so let's check. P is fine. P is fine. Okay. So let's remove the print statement. This one. Okay, so the test is. It's passing, but here still this is the simple case. We are just printing the result based on the only the counting, but one condition is still not mentioned here. If two characters have the same same frequency, then alphabetically smallest one should become. So for this we will add one more condition. So if that count is equal to that max. Okay. Or we can simply type if and RPS new character, or this is the old one, str of I is less than 2 RES. Okay. Then we will do the thing max equal to count and RES equal to same str I. Otherwise, else part only max equal to is equal to count. Something else. This is okay. In the case of equality, let's check. Suppose we have this B, B, A, U, T. We are getting A. So then it is working fine. Let's do this A, B, B, C, D. Getting B, this is wrong. Okay, see that frequency part is equal to max. If RES. And let's do RES auto STR. Otherwise, this is okay. This is okay. That's it. So, there, it's fine. Now this. Okay, so we have actually alphabetically condition we have also put. So you can see if we are printing this input, so AA is the first character, so this is now frequency we count 2, but BB we got the again 2 frequency count, but we are printing A as a output final because A is comes before B alphabetically. Okay. So this was the requirement of the question, but test case are not configured like this, but we have put it this condition. So if we found the same count, okay, count is equal to the previous that max. So we are just comparing the string part, that the new character is smaller than to the previous character, real character. So that is RES. Then we are updating our RES character for this. Okay. If our count is greater than to the max, we will just update the both things. Max also we will update, and character we will also update. But in the case of equal, only we will just update the result our character if that comes before. Okay, the new character comes before to the previous character alphabetically. So that part is done by this part. Okay, and done by this. So this is the thing. This is the solution for this input. So only this part, the additionally, otherwise the simple count frequency we have find out. If we found greater frequency, that we are storing the result as a final result. So any like any query in this solution? So let me explain quickly for example. So suppose we have the frequency like A, B, 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 C, D, like this. Okay. So what is the length? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. We have the n value. Okay, 0 to 9 index. So first we for outer loop, this outer loop, actually this I loop will just point to this and we'll find out the frequency for this. Okay. Initially we set our max to 0 and result as a first character we have assigned, so A. Now we find out how many times A comes. So that is, we found A comes 3 times. Okay. Previous max is 0, so we are just comparing the count for this 3 is greater than 0. Yes. So we will assign our max to 3. Okay. And we will our RES also we will assign to that ith character. So this is A. Okay. Now the second times we will check for the frequency for this character A. So same information we will find out. So our this value will remain the same for this. Again A the same 3 and A will remain the same. Now we find out the B frequency. So B comes 4 times now. Okay, 4. So compare this 4 is greater than to the previous max 3. Okay, based on this condition. And we will update our this result. So max now become 4 and our result will become B. This character. Now next B, same information we will get, no update, no update, no update. Now C we will find 1 count. So that is not greater than max. D is not greater than max and E is not greater than max. So finally our max value is 4 and RES character is B. Okay, in this way. So this operation is performing. So this part we are identifying the count frequency for each character. Then we are comparing that to the previous max and previous things. Okay, so in this way, we are identifying the most frequent character. Any query in this? Anyone? So this is the last problem for today. This will also work for the test case. Okay, 4 out of 4. Any doubt, any query, anything? So all problems are done for today. So just try to solve these problems by your own first. Okay, and check. Are you able to do or not?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, then if no query, then we can wind up the session. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, sir.